Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to be talking about the BOYZ II MEN effect. Yes, I know. The BOYZ II MEN effect is something else that I've recently watched and I observed and I said, wow, it kind of makes sense. I think I can resonate with it. That's what we're going to be looking at this week. Please stay tuned for the rest of the video. So I've recently watched one episode on Netflix. It's something like Going Pop. I think this is Pop or Going Pop. The first episode, they talk about the BOYZ II MEN effect. For those who don't know what BOYZ II MEN is, BOYZ II MEN used to be one of the #1 boy band in the 90s. So what BOYZ II MEN did is their formula was to take, the seriousness of making music like back in the 70s, and they brought that forward in the late 80s when they were still in school. And in the 90s, in the early 90s, they just boomed up the chart. I mean, they hit the chart. It was not just them on the urban chart. They even went to the pop charts. I mean, they were all over, on the Billboard charts. So what happens with BOYZ II MEN was, their fame didn't stay that long. Because, like any other successful person, people go out there and they replicate whatever you have done, and then before you know it, you're out of it. So it wasn't long. I think BOYZ II MEN stayed of the chart for around 5 years. They had multiple #1 albums in that 5 years, and then just like that, it just disappeared. There was nothing wrong with what BOYZ II MEN was doing. There was nothing wrong with that talent. There was nothing wrong with that delivery. There was nothing wrong with the manager. It just that it happens that people figure it out. How did they become BOYZ II MEN? How did they get the harmony going? And later on, before you know it, there was 98 Degrees. There was Backstreet Boys. There was NSYNC. If you don't know, it will be like just one guy singing. That's like the Migos recently. It's like there's only one person singing, but actually it's like 3, 4, 5 people singing in one go. So that was the secret sauce. Since people figured it out, it became easy to get them chucked out. I'm referring to that as the BOYZ II MEN effect, to say it becomes easier for people to replicate what you are known for, your so what, or your unique delivery. It becomes so easy for people to replicate your unique delivery to a point that they actually get you out of your own game, that you don't become the best at what you're doing. Personal story on the BOYZ II MEN effect. I reflected when I came back from one bank and I joined the bank that I work for now. I joined the sales team. I had zero experience on being on sales. But what happened on this time is I didn't know at the time, but I was a secret source. The guys were bringing into the team because there was a person who was responsible for sales analytics. And just like in a big team, you would have processes in place. At this time, you put your requests beforehand so that they can manage the delivery. But that was actually playing around or hindering with how fast the delivery was for the team. There was a head of the department, there was managers in there, and then there were normal analysts in there, different from data to just normal sales analysts, financial analysts, all together, one big team. So when I came and I sat just there in a space in the ops team, operations team, and I was responsible for analyzing the same sales that they were analyzing, but I didn't know. So I would be brought into meetings and immediately I would be asked, December, can you do this? And then young and being naive, you just do it quickly and you send it out. You do it quickly, you send it out. Before I know it, people around me started being salty, people from the sales analytics team, because I was getting data from them. Started being salty, and it was when the restructure hit that I finally understood what was happening. So I was the Backstreet Boys, and I was taking them out as BOYZ II MEN. They didn't know. But it was a shocker. It was quite a shocker. Because what used to be done by a team of people was now being done by me as a loner. I was being roped into privileged information. Think about it. You take a middle manager who's got the details of a low-level person who can run the database and can run queries, but is a middle manager. And then you take him to your meeting. And then as you are talking, 5 minutes or a few minutes after that, the person can be able to pull out the data source whether it's from the internet, it's from wherever, he can be able to make your presentation within a few minutes and you are ready to present. Imagine that. That was my value proposition. But in so doing, I was becoming, better than the previous team, and then without my intention, when restructure came, they were actually sent to the other business and the whole team was dismantled. Fast forward a couple of years later, it came to that point. I was at that crossroad where I could smell the BOYZ II MEN effect coming my way. And then I thought to myself, I better do something about this. I knew that whatever I was looking at was surely becoming, outdated. And I knew I had to move out. As after the restructuring, everybody else is happy. I think we had just appointed the new head of sales, and he called me and said, buddy, I'm gonna need you for the future. We're gonna do this. And as he started, and I knew, I just went to him and I said, you know what, I don't think I can start looking at unsecured lending and the sales of all of this and cross sales anymore. I think I'm gonna have to go and look at technology, finance data. I think that's what tickles me. I mean, it was a huge blow because we are a lean team, and then now if you go, it becomes a big shocker. And to my gut feeling, I just had a gut feeling, but to my gut feeling, a year or so later, the new head of sales resigned and pursued his personal interest. He was in the bank for decades, so he decided, I'm gonna pursue my other talent. And at that time, it only then clicked to say, I survived the bullet. The gut feeling that I was gonna be like BOYZ II MEN, where I was gonna be outdated without my knowledge. In this video, I decided to have four things that we can do to foresee beforehand the BOYZ II MEN effect. The first one is to actually be mindful of the times. BOYZ II MEN was taking music from the 70s, whatever, but now we were in the 90s and the times were changing. Yes, the style might have captured people, but the times were changing. How do I do that in sales? I might have been connecting to the database using a SQL database using direct stream. It might have worked perfectly in a few years back, but right now technology has changed. That might be a slow process because you just wait for much longer while you're waiting for the data to be read by Excel workbook from SQL database. So your technique might not be relevant for the time. Just be cognizant of the time on the delivery that you are doing. Number two is, as much as I would say, do not spend too much time listening to office politics, but office politics can actually gauge you so that you can know. Look out for the new restructure that's coming. Then there's a new restructure, a new team that's coming, advanced analytics team that's coming. It can just tell you that it's either you're gonna have an opportunity in your team or you might be restructured out of the team. Just look out for those things. Don't be involved in office politics. I would say no, don't get involved, but keep an open eye for it, or an open ear for it. That's what I say, so that you know that, okay, new team is coming. Number three is technology. I might have alluded to number one when I say changing times. The third one is technology. On technology, the improvement in technology and how data is handled can actually get you out of the game quite quickly. Simple one. Let's go back to Excel, querying Excel. So you have SQL database, you query it into an Excel workbook, and then you create a nice graph. Later on, a new guy that walks in and's got zero experience in writing a SQL language. That person can actually get you out of the game by taking an Excel workbook and connecting it straight to other bigger Excel files. I think they call that data model. It used to be under Power Pivot, but I know now, I've seen it now, like it's a built-in function. It's no longer under Power Pivot. Making use of that data model, not Power Pivot, making use of that data model, this person can actually get faster result, quicker than you do with you linking into SQL database. So improvement in technologies can actually make you obsolete like that. Number four, with that linked, is looking out for additional training. You'll see a lot of people here talking about data analytics training. Please keep a watchful eye for that. There's Google Analytics on it. There's ones in Udemy. There are other ones on LinkedIn Learnings if your organization's got the license. Make use of them. have a look at what's out there. Education can actually quite help you broaden up yourself. I don't know if this one makes the list, but let's put it there as number 5. Just to do 4+1. Networking. Always keep an open eye for the other team, what the other teams are doing, and that networking can actually quite help you out, because you would know about the technologies that are coming, you would know about the restructures, you would know about what's out there, you would know about what educational licenses are there, whether it's AWS, whether it's IBM licenses, whether it's SaaS licenses. You would know about that, and just keep a good eye for it. BOYZ II MEN effect is real. It's real. I can just imagine you just started, you are like on top of the list, and then you're being told, sorry guy, we don't have space for you. Imagine, how do you feel? You just bought a house, you took 20 years on the mortgage. Let's make it even worse. You took 30 years on the mortgage because it's quite expensive. You took 30 years on the mortgage, and they tell you, you know what, I think we got a new team. So it's a sad reality, but it's very, very true for us as analysts, because there's always new improvement, new technologies, new people that are always coming in. And the only way else that I remain the analyst for this long is because I kept on improving faster than the rest of the people around me. So watch out for the 4+1 things, and maybe apply them into your daily life. If you think they're gonna work, please let me know down there. Until next time, thanks.